What's up, YouTube? Next 90 days are shaping up to be the most explosive, high momentum window for stocks that have not already moved yet that we've seen in a while. I want to give you the tickers right now so you can do your own research if you don't want to watch the rest of this video. I will tell you why these are good buys in the rest of the video, though, along with news and where to enter. So it's U. That's uranium stock, like it sounds like. Wolf, it's the Bitcoin miner. And METC, which you may not have heard of. That's sort of an unknown stock. So let's jump into these. They're not just good setups, they're also fundamentally strong reasons for you to buy them. Uranium is a sort of unstoppable trend, even with the price of uranium actually being down this year. Uranium continues to go up because it's used for nukes, and we need nukes to have basically ChatGPT. So VCs love nuclear and they love uranium, and small stocks are going up as a result. Crypto, miners, Bitcoin had a big run. Ethereum is going nuts right now. And I think Wolf is going to benefit even more. They just had recent earnings. And lastly, METC, this is sort of off the radar steel metals name. And I'll tell you why that's a good buy at the end. So if you're ready to jump in, let's get started. Strike while the iron is hot. All right. First up, Energy Fuels Q2 results right here. You can already see looking at the chart. This looks pretty awesome. But they did have 10 cents a share. So the loss was 10 cents a share loss of about $20 million, which is actually an improvement from their $26 million loss in Q1. So it's a little company. You are buying a stock with losing earnings. But again, the sector is so hot, uranium, that it's more about how a venture capitalist would look at this, which is that this has a potential for a 100x. You can see it's a $10 stock right now. So do you want to put your whole net worth in this stock? Absolutely not. They did have about 1.8 million pounds of uranium, including 700,000 pounds of U3O8, which is the isotope everyone's talking about, I guess is the word for it. I'm not a scientist, I'm a stock picker. They sold 50,000 pounds at $77 per pound, and they generated $3 million in gross proceeds at 30% margin. They're stockpiling. They're waiting for higher uranium prices. Again, like I said, uranium is actually a lower price than normal. Usually you expect like ExxonMobil to be going up when oil is going up and down when oil is going down. Meanwhile, uranium went down this year a little bit, and all these uranium stocks went up. So that just shows how much excitement there is about these companies. They are expected to process up to 1 million pounds of uranium in Q4. Again, it's coiling up. It looks great off this 20-day moving average. And they're raising expected sales from 200,000 about to 350,000 for 2025. So they have inventory and bullish sales guidance. So this could have a strong, no pun intended, a material move. And it's sort of holding here. It did get sold off pretty heavy 3 days ago, in that range. But keep in mind, the SPY also is looking like, it may or may not break the all-time highs. We're pretty close here, but we had these 2 heavy days. So there's a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not this will last. When that's the case, you don't want to be buying Mag 7 FANG stocks, right? You want to look at undiscovered names that could still break out, have a lot of room to the upside, and are less correlated to the market, which I believe you falls in those categories. All right, let's look at the next stock, Wolf. This is a Bitcoin miner, building up a pretty heavy base here for a while now. It's been over a month going sideways. It's just finally looking like it's about to break out. Bitcoin is gapped up along with Ethereum. It didn't run quite as much as Ethereum, but it did hold. You can see I sold out all of my Bitcoin. Not that you care about me, but certainly wish I had held for that gap out. And Wolf looks like it might give another opportunity. It did have earnings here, just under 5 cents a share loss, beat estimates by a cent. Revenue came in about 50 million above the revenue consensus of 46 million and up about 30% year over year. So it's solid. And I mean, the stock went up. You can see it in the earnings traction. People were happy with the earnings despite this initial drop. There was a lot of buying activity, big volume in the following day. So Wolf looks good. EPS did miss, but less than it expected. So that is a good sign relatively, and they've accelerating revenue as well, above consensus, like I mentioned. A momentum squeeze could happen. Wolf is well positioned. I think it's the better pick right now over Iron, which would have been great back here, above this moving average. But now it's too high. So Wolf breaking out gives you sort of a way to buy it with tight risk against this breakout level that is not really present in other Bitcoin related names. So that's Wolf. And the last ticker is this Ramaco Resources, METC, also sort of at this breakout level here. This is probably the level 25 you want to look at. Q2 earnings, net loss of 14 million, 29 cents per share. But adjusted EBITDA came in at 9 million. And the cash cost per ton, which is sort of a materials measurement, fell to $103. This is a record, almost a million tons of production, which is up 11% year over year. And 95% of that production is already committed at a fixed price, which means they're going to get paid. So pretty awesome. They have $87 million of cash, liquidity. That's been refinanced. And they have agreements both domestically for about 1 million tons at $150. If you want the numbers, 1 million tons at $100 internationally. So the international price is a little bit lower than the domestic price, but they have demand both domestically and internationally at almost an equal quantity for each. So that's the nitty-gritty news, but the chart itself, as to why it caught my eye, is it looks pretty strong. It looks like it's breaking out. So there's always a reason for breakouts, which is why we look at the news. Fundamentally, we want to know why institutions' funds are accumulating this. But we also want to make sure we can jump in with tight risk reward ourselves, even if we don't know all the nitty-gritty details that surely the investors of these actual companies know that we don't. We can just follow and see what they're doing with their money, which is why we look at the charts. So all that to say, right? Strong operations, solid pricing, high margins, production that's sold, guaranteed sold, which I think is important for a materials company. And it's a textbook setup. So this is a resource name. It's not super hot sector, but sometimes you want to stray away from super hot sectors because they got all the buying in the last 6 months since April or more, the last 3-4 months. And now they're probably going to cool off. Meanwhile, these under the radar plays like METC are probably going to be the better bet. So UUUU, the first name, uranium name, kind of actually similar, materials name to METC, but uranium particular is especially hot. Again, no pun intended. It's also related to rare earths and, of course, nuclear, which are the hottest sectors of the year. They have, good guidance, margin improvements, and the setup itself, you can actually buy with really tight risk because it's been so tight. These wicks have been sort of nasty, but if you can set above this 20-day moving average, you could maybe, expect a lot of room to run while also taking a really small loss if it does start to turn down, which I wouldn't have picked it if I thought it would turn down. Wolf is another one right here. And again, the opportunity is over this breakout level. And it's the Bitcoin miner, not specifically buying Bitcoin, you're buying miners, which sometimes miners can go up sort of more violently than Bitcoin. Look at this run in late June that Iron, a miner, went on before Bitcoin. See, Bitcoin's breakout was at 7.8 up here. If we look at 7.8 on Bitcoin up here, this is the breakout. Whereas, Iron went, up 623, Bitcoin went sideways. So, Wolf could, in a similar fashion, lead Bitcoin to the upside. And lastly, METC, which could break out here. And we just talked about the reason for buying that steel name that's sort of off the beaten path. So those are the 3 stocks. Definitely take a look at these sooner rather than later. They are time sensitive. If you have a ticker, drop it below. If you're not subscribed and you want to see this channel grow to provide more, very compliant fashion, but they are picks in a way, stocks for you to look at that I think they're going to go up. I'm not a financial advisor, but go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And that'll encourage more people to view this channel, keep the watch time up, and keep me making these videos so you can check these out and do your own diligence before you buy them. I'll see you in the next one. You guys are awesome.